You ever just look at your car and think, how in the world did this thing get made? I mean, really think about it. Well, today we're going to pull back the curtain on what is, no joke, one of the most amazing manufacturing processes on Earth, how a modern car comes to be.
Because here's the thing, it's a huge challenge. How do you take literally tens of thousands of separate pieces and turn them into a single, cohesive machine that you trust with your life every single day? It's kind of mind-boggling. And yeah, that number's for real. Toyota says a typical car is made up of about 30,000 parts. I mean, from a tiny screw you'll never see to the massive engine block, every single one of those parts has to fit together perfectly. The coordination is just wow. So, to make sense of all this controlled chaos, car makers have basically perfected this amazing process that we can break down into 5 main stages. And we're going to go through that whole journey together, right from a roll of metal to a car ready for the highway. Okay, so first things first, it all starts with the car's skeleton. Before you can add an engine or seats or anything, you have to build the body, the structure that holds it all together. And that story begins with these enormous rolls of steel. The very first step is a process called stamping, and it's exactly what it sounds like. You've got these giant presses that use custom molds to literally punch flat sheets of steel into the familiar shapes we all know. You know, doors, hoods, fenders. It's incredibly loud, super powerful, and happens in a flash. And when I say powerful, I mean it. Get this, Toyota's presses use 1,600 tons of pressure. That's like stacking over 1,000 cars on top of each other, just to shape one car part. It's just immense force, applied in seconds. All right, so now you've got this whole collection of perfectly shaped metal panels, fenders, floor pans, all the bits and pieces. Now they've got to be joined together with absolute precision. This is really where you start to see the shape of a car emerge from the pile of parts. Now, this is where it gets interesting, because you see different approaches. You've got the mass production giants like Toyota, who use over 4,000 robotic spot welds to build a car with incredible speed. But then you look at a company like Porsche. They call it an elegant mechanical ballet of robots, sure, but the most critical welds, they're still done by the steady hands of master craftsmen. It's a beautiful blend of automation and artistry. So the body is welded, it's solid, it looks like a car. Now we get to the part that's both science and art. We're talking about the paint. And it's not just there to look pretty. It is the car's armor against rain, sun, and everything else the world throws at it. And this is a super careful step-by-step process. First, the body gets this intense wash to make sure it's perfectly clean. Then it's dunked into an electrically charged primer bath, which is key for fighting off rust. After that, robotic arms spray on the color and a protective clear coat with pinpoint accuracy. And finally, the whole thing gets baked in a massive oven to cure the paint into a tough, glossy shell. But even with all those perfect robots, the human touch is still crucial. At a place like Porsche, after the machines do their thing, actual human specialists inspect every single square inch. Their eyes and even their hands are trained to feel out tiny little imperfections that a machine would just never catch. It's all about making it absolutely flawless. All right, now we're heading into what most people picture when they think of a car factory, the assembly line. This is the idea that Henry Ford made famous, and let me tell you, it's evolved into something incredibly sophisticated. This is where that painted shell finally becomes a real working car. And the scale is just staggering. A Toyota final assembly line, for example, can be over half a mile long. Just picture that, a constantly moving river of cars being built, with thousands of parts flowing in from all sides at the exact right second. And as the car moves down this line, it gets built up piece by piece. They usually take the doors off first to make it easier to work inside. Then comes all the wiring, the dashboard, the ceiling. Then the heavy stuff, the engine and transmission, is lifted up from underneath. Then the seats go in, bumpers go on, and right at the end, the very same doors that were taken off are put back on. You know, of all the steps on the line, there's one that's really special. Porsche has this great name for it. They call it the marriage. This is that amazing moment when the car's body is lowered down onto the chassis, the part with the engine and the wheels. It's where two halves become a whole. It's when the car really gets its soul. So the car's all put together. It looks like it's ready to go, right? Well, not quite. It's not really a car yet. Before a single customer ever sees it, that vehicle has to go through an absolutely brutal series of tests to prove it's earned the right to be on the road.
And this is another place where human skill is just mind-blowing. Think about this for a second. Toyota inspectors are trained to feel a difference of just 1/10 of a millimeter in the space between two body panels with their fingertips. That is a level of sensitivity that no machine can match. It's incredible.
And that car is put through a whole gauntlet of tests. It gets blasted in a high-pressure shower to check for leaks, brakes and pedals get a workout, every single light, switch, and gauge is tested. They even put it on rollers to listen for any weird noises or vibrations. A car doesn't leave the factory until it gets a perfect score on everything. So the car is built, it's passed every test, it's perfect. The very last step isn't about building it anymore, it's about getting it to you. And that is a worldwide logistics ballet that is just jaw-dropping. The need for precision doesn't end on the assembly line. When they load these cars onto massive transport ships, they are parked with only 30 centimeters of space between bumpers. And just 10 centimeters? That's less than the width of your hand from side to side. Imagine trying to park that perfectly thousands of times. It's an incredible dance that lets these specialized teams load up to 5,000 brand new cars onto a single ship in about 2 days. From there, they head out all across the globe to find their new homes. So that brings us back to the big question, right? After seeing all this, the robotic welding, the master technicians, the inspectors with superhuman touch, what is a modern car factory all about? Is it just cold, hard automation, or is it human artistry? Well, the truth is, it's both. It has to be. You absolutely cannot have one without the other in today's world. The whole system is designed to get the absolute best of both. At the end of the day, making a modern car isn't a story of robots replacing people. It's the story of a perfect partnership. It's about combining the flawless, tireless precision of a robot with the passion, the skill, and the intuition of the human hand. And that combination, that's how that 30,000 part machine ends up in your driveway. Thanks for watching.